If you caught our last video, you already know what MTV meant to an entire generation. A channel that made music visual, that made artists into icons, that gave Gen X a place to live after school every single day. But by the mid-90s, something was shifting. Kids did not just want to watch music, they wanted to be part of it. In September of 1998, MTV launched Total Request Live, and nothing was the same after that. The concept was simple. Fans called in to vote for their favorite music videos. The top 10 counted down live every afternoon. But simple does not mean small. TRL was an instant phenomenon. It was loud and chaotic and alive in a way that felt completely different from anything MTV had done before. And right in the middle of all of it was a guy named Carson Daly. MTV moved TRL into a street-level studio in Times Square, and that decision changed everything. Suddenly, the show had a window to the world, and the world showed up. Every afternoon, fans gathered on the sidewalk, outside holding signs and screaming loud enough to rattle the glass. Artists would lean out the window and wave, and the crowd would absolutely lose its mind. There was no algorithm, no For You page. Just hundreds of teenagers standing on a New York City sidewalk, hoping to get 3 seconds of airtime on live television. It was completely unhinged and absolutely perfect. TRL did not just play music videos, it crowned winners. If your video owned the #1 spot for days in a row, you were not just popular, you were TRL famous, which was its own category entirely. Backstreet Boys and NSYNC turned the studio into a screaming contest every time they showed up. Britney Spears debuted Baby One More Time, and the phones melted. Eminem brought an edge that made parents genuinely uncomfortable, which meant every kid in America was watching. And then there was Limp Bizkit, if you know, you know. TRL had no lane, it played everything, and somehow made all of it feel urgent. Here is what people forget about TRL. It was not just a show, it was a shared experience in an era before shared experiences happened on your phone. Every weekday at 3:30, a generation of kids sat down together and watched the same countdown. You talked about it at school the next morning. You called your friend during commercials. You had opinions about whether Eminem deserved to knock Backstreet Boys out of the #1 spot. Nobody was scrolling. Nobody was half watching. The TV had your full attention because missing TRL meant missing the conversation. That kind of cultural lock has not existed in music since. Not even close. In 2005, a website called YouTube launched, and at first nobody in the music industry took it seriously. Why would they? It was just people uploading random clips. But then people started uploading music videos, and then more music videos, and then entire concerts, and suddenly the core premise of TRL started to wobble. Why call a phone number to vote for a video you might get to see in 3 days when you could pull it up right now for free anytime you wanted? The countdown format that had felt so electric in 1998 started feeling like a chore. The audience did not leave all at once, they just quietly stopped showing up. On November 16, 2008, TRL aired its final episode. Carson Daly came back to host the goodbye, and the whole thing felt exactly like it should. Emotional without being dramatic. A proper send-off for something that had genuinely mattered. Artists showed up. Fans packed the sidewalk one last time, and then it was over. 10 years after it launched, TRL signed off, and MTV quietly moved on. The network that had once made music visual was now making reality television. Jersey Shore was already in production. The era did not just end. It got replaced by something completely unrecognizable. In 2017, MTV announced TRL was coming back. New hosts, new studio, same Times Square window. And look, the intention was good, but you cannot manufacture nostalgia by recreating the container without recreating the conditions. In 1998, TRL worked because there was no other option. In 2017, your phone had every video ever made sitting in your pocket. The revival lasted 1 year. It was not bad television. It was just unnecessary television. Some things are so perfectly tied to their moment that bringing them back only makes the original feel further away. Here is what TRL actually was. It was the last monoculture moment in music. The last time a single show could take an artist from unknown to inescapable in a matter of weeks. The last time millions of people watched the same countdown and had the same argument about who deserved the top spot. Social media gave everyone a voice, but it also shattered the shared experience into a billion tiny pieces. There is no TRL now because there cannot be. The audience is too fragmented. The platforms are too many. But for 10 years, one show held it all together. And if you were there, you already know exactly what we lost. And if this brought back all the feels, come hang out with us at genxrewinds.com. We make gear for the generation that lived it.